Some say the show has the power to speak things into existence. Other people doubt that notion, and I present to you Steve Angeli, who was discussed earlier this week on the show with Jackson Holzer of Locked On Syracuse as a potential or perhaps likely transfer portal target. And what do you know? After he loses the quarterback battle in South Bend, Indiana with Notre Dame, he's now going to Syracuse. And this is not Kyle McCord 2.0. It really isn't. Angeli is a veteran of college, not so much college football. Now, he's played football for multiple years, but to say that he's a proven commodity at quarterback is not an accurate assessment. Do I think Angeli is interesting? Yes. Is he the most veteran type quarterback that was available? Yeah. I mean, according to 24/7, the next highest rated quarterback that was available in the transfer portal was Jaden Rashada. There was also Giovanni McCoy, who transferred from Oregon State to Texas State and is now going to go on his way to Temple. That's not the sort of guy, though, stylistically, that Syracuse would look to add in a very pass-happy offense, even if they don't have Trevor Pena in the fold there at wide receiver. So Brian Smith of the Portal podcast noted his strengths and some career stats and sums it up really, really well in this particular tweet. 10 career passing touchdowns, just one interception, 772 yards passing, most effective in the short to intermediate range, doesn't turn the football over, play action is strength, has leadership qualities. Like, it's solid. It's solid. It's a good move. It doesn't change my outlook of Syracuse in 2025. Their win total, according to our friends at FanDuel, is 5.5. I don't believe that Angeli moves the needle for the Orange. I think what he presents is an opportunity, if Ricky Collins is not actually healthy, to go and have somewhat of a surefire thing. Again, I say somewhat because he's got 80 career pass attempts. He's got 700 yards passing. Like, it's just, there's not a huge volume of work here. Now, I'll get the negative stuff out of the way, and then I'll go back to being optimistic Spencer here on the show. FanDuel, by the way, has not moved Syracuse's win total at 5.5. Their schedule is brutal. Absolutely, positively brutal. And the fun note about all of this is that Angeli was maybe a target for Tennessee. That was a prediction that Tyler Wojak of Locked On Notre Dame made on this very show. And for a little while, it seemed like it was going to come to fruition. Yeah, lo and behold, it did not. And he winds up at Syracuse. But he's been around college football. He's seen what high enough level quarterback play is to make the college football playoff in Riley Leonard last year, who, I felt as a passer, they made it in spite of Notre Dame's passing attack, not because of it. But that's a guy who's been around college football for a while, has won a lot of games. He knows how to carry himself. He knows how to learn an offense. He knows how to do a lot of things. The biggest question is, does he know how to be a starting quarterback? That's not the greatest question to ask. Now, there are two pieces of good news here for Syracuse. And no, Ricky Collins potentially being hurt in a serious fashion that they felt the need to bring in Steve Angeli as a veteran presence in the room isn't really the good news that I was thinking of. The first piece of good news is this is a guy who was just legitimately competing to be Notre Dame's starting quarterback. That's one of the top 5 national championship odds teams in all of college football, and justifiably so. They're the national runners-up, they're 6th behind Penn State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. Notre Dame's right there. They were just legitimately giving this guy a look. It wasn't for no reason. He was Riley Leonard's backup last year for a reason. The potential, I think, is absolutely there. There just isn't I mentioned Kyle McCord earlier. He went 11-1 with Ohio State. 11-1 was one drive away from going to the Big Ten championship game, going to the college football playoff, and he got pressure in his face, forced to throw a little bit, made an interception against a team that went on to win the national championship in the Michigan Wolverines. So, yeah, not a whole lot of shame there. I didn't expect McCord to be as good as he was last year, but I certainly think that he comes in with more cachet at the quarterback position than Steve Angeli does. So the upside, though, is Notre Dame was just legit. It was not a fake battle. It was not a faux pas. It was not a facade and other unnecessarily fancy words to describe something that isn't real. There was a battle in South Bend. CJ Carr just won it. CJ Carr was just better. That guy is an incredibly talented young up-and-comer in the quarterback realm in college football, and he beat out Steve Angeli. That's all there is to it. Just because you're not good enough to beat him out doesn't mean you aren't good enough to start. He was getting a look for a reason. He stuck around at Notre Dame for a reason because the staff probably told him, we believe you have a chance to start one day. And he got that chance, just wasn't able to win the battle. So you have someone who's capable there. Upside number 2, this is more big picture. Because I don't view Syracuse's season, who are a fascinating team in the ACC, they, along with Duke, were just wildly underrated 10-win teams last year. Duke was 9-3. Both went 9-3 in the regular season. Syracuse won their bowl game to get to 10 wins. Duke did not. Their quarterback left. That makes it slightly difficult and whatnot. But the way that Syracuse looks at their long-term outlook is better because the likelihood that Fran Brown gets hired after this season is now a lot lower. Because this is your reality at quarterback and you couldn't get Kyle McCord next year of eligibility, and it's Steve Angeli or a banged-up Ricky Collins, or maybe it's Ricky Collins, who himself is not the most experienced guy in the world at the quarterback spot, you now have an opportunity to bring back Fran Brown for a third year. And yeah, that is a legitimate concern. This guy is making public statement. You notice how Fran Brown's popping up in national news stories a lot this spring? That's not by accident. By his camp or by other people like myself or many others who recognize this guy is good, really good. Remember, he came from Georgia and Kirby Smart. You know who else came from Georgia and Kirby Smart? Dan Lanning. Pretty good. So the coaching tree of Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, it's pretty darn good. So Fran Brown, after a 10-win season, if he had the opportunity to bring back Kyle McCord or follow it up, there's a real solid chance it would be the last time he coaches a game for the Syracuse Orange. That's not the case anymore. This could still be a solid year, but I think it's a season where Fran Brown is hopefully setting realistic expectations with his athletic director and just the administration and the fan base. I'm sure that's not how he thinks. I'm just saying it's how he should think. The schedule is really hard. It's why their win total's 5.5. They're not going to be as good of a team. They've lost some key guys to the portal. You've lost your quarterback and top 2 receivers from a passing-laden team that went 10-3 last year. Yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher. But you get to keep Fran Brown around for another year and allow him to grow to love Syracuse that much more, and perhaps increase the possibility that he sticks around for another season or 2 after that. But this will be a consistent offseason topic on my show until he isn't the head coach of Syracuse. He's going to keep getting looks. He just is. I think he's a really impressive guy. I think he's a really good coach. He does a lot of things well. There's just a lot to work with there. So the Steve Angeli to Syracuse move official. Is he going to be officially the starter? Time is going to tell. I tell you someone who is going to start, I think, for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Beau Atkinson. So this is someone who I talked about on the show recently as one of the top defensive line targets that will move all spring. Beau Atkinson coming off the edge. He's not JT Tuimoloau. He is not Jack Sawyer. He is, I think, someone, because he's a veteran, is being brought in to replace the production of what the Buckeyes just lost to the NFL draft, which is a lot. 3 or 4 defensive linemen from that unit, couple of linebackers, couple of DBs. They lost a lot of guys. This is a really nice, solid pickup for the Buckeyes. I don't expect them to wreck games the way JTT could, as I remember doing against Penn State years ago, or Jack Sawyer against Texas in the playoff semifinal. That's not my expectation here. I do think this is a really, really good pickup. And he was someone who Georgia was looking at. Why? High-end transfer target. He has got size coming off the edge. He has got speed. He's got good pass rush moves. This is a guy that can go out and make plays for Ohio State's defense this year, coordinated by Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia. Yeah. Yeah. Matt Patricia. I tell you what, it's strange. It's weird, but weirder things have happened in college football. So that's your portal news of the day.